Hello and welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, India's largest platform for small businesses. You're watching the 10th edition of the show. It's been 10 seasons of empowering you, the small business owner, hand-holding and guiding you. I'm Sunanda Jayaseelan. On the show tonight, we're calling out the big trends for businesses which are in the internet economy, discussing digitization, discussing capitalization, and why it's crucial to continue to be passionate in the face of any kind of resistance. I'm in conversation first off with Rajesh Yabaji, CEO and co-founder of BlackBuck. I'm also speaking with Beerud Sheth, CEO and co-founder, Gupshup. My first interview is with BlackBuck. We've discussed the events that have impacted the logistics industry, including, of course, the pandemic, why it is crucial to be well capitalized for any business, as well as his advice for small businesses, amongst other things. Listen in. Good having you with us here on the Leaders of Tomorrow, and fantastic office that you have here in Bengaluru, and I think perfect weather that we've got for the start to today's interview. Thank you for taking the time to speak with us. My first question is, whenever anyone does any sort of basic research on you, the first thing that pops up is all the negative news, if I can call it that, on BlackBuck. But that aside, this market that you are solving for is a very complicated market. On one hand, you have, of course, all the macroeconomic challenges around infrastructure, and on the other, you have what is a very fragmented market with individual fleet and truck owners. Why did you decide that this was the market and the model that you wanted to go after?
So I think, Sunanda, this dates back to my work ex at ITC. I finished my college in the year 2010. Was always passionate about doing something in the operations management kind of a space. Was doing all my projects there, and right place, right time, ITC happened, and got this very interesting problem to solve for the tobacco supply chain and build efficiencies. That's where the entire tryst with trucking, logistics, warehousing happened, right? And lot of work which we did at ITC scale gave us numerous benefits in terms of reliability of transportation, cost effectiveness of transportation. And when those successes came at a limited network within the ITC scale, the thought process was that, can we take this up and do this for India, right? So that is where it all started. And I sounded off this idea with both of my two co-founders today, Subbu and Chanakya. And I think all three of us had that common passion for this industry. We'd spent a lot of time in this field. We associated and connected with this problem, and the problem is huge. And I think we're still solving it, and we're still scratching the surface.
And that was going to be my next question, that this is a market that when you speak to anyone who's in the logistics and the infrastructure space are saying it's plagued by problems. On one hand, you have the big picture problems of the lack of, say, proper roads, you have toll, you have this, you have the FASTag, you have that. And on the other hand, you have a lot of very small players who have not really been aggregated, except for players like yourself who are trying to aggregate that market. Just call out the big challenges for our entrepreneurs as you see it, and how perhaps you're trying to solve it in your own way.
If you look at trucking as a problem, right? A few things are sort of very clear. One is, if you are trying to get a truck to ship goods, there's a high chance that you may not get a truck today for yourself. Second is, you may not get the truck at the price which you want, right? And all of this is let's say, a problem at a customer level. Second thing, if you look at a very macro level, Indian logistics is highly unpredictable. And Indian logistics is probably the costliest when compared to any other country. We spend about 14-15 percentage points of our GDP in logistics, right?
Is this because it's not properly connected?
Not organized, not properly connected, not streamlined, processes are not laid out. When a trucker, so I'll come to the root cause. The core of this problem is essentially according to us and according to BlackBuck, the way we are solving it is that 80-90% of this problem is more rooted in the ownership of the assets, which is like 85% of Indian trucks are owned by people who own less than 5 trucks. And these are small time truck operators who own like 2 trucks, 3 trucks, who are the backbone of this entire trucking industry.
Yeah.
And now when these guys, let's say point number 1, they need to do their business, they need to find a load. When they have to find a load, on an average, they go through, so these truck operators, when they need to find a load, on an average, they go through like 2 to 3 intermediaries to get their, get their load filled. 2 to 3 intermediaries means losing a margin of 15 to 25%, depending on case to case basis. When they have to do their payments, right? Most of them handle money in cash. Handling cash means they spend like 3 to 5 percentage points of the total money they're transacting in, like, they lose that. Yeah. Next is managing drivers, managing where the truck is, managing utilization. That is again a big challenge, right? And when they and the fourth part, which is like saying, I need to buy a truck, I need to take a loan, I need to take loan for my working capital. The interest rates are like 40 percentage points, like 60, 70 percentage points. So anything which a truck operator who's a small time guy, largely uneducated segment, largely in the age group of 40 to 50, when he's trying to access anything to do his trucking business, is literally inefficient and broken, right? Yeah. So this is what, is the description of the problem, how we think why India has a broken logistics network, has the most inefficient and most non-reliable systems, is because the core of this is this truck operator who's not served properly. And that is where like BlackBuck is. Like what we do today is that every problem in the life of a truck operator, BlackBuck is committed to solve it. BlackBuck is committed to, help him manage his business, with ease, help him manage, grow his earnings, help him optimize his costs, and become like the end-to-end service provider for a truck owner and help him like, grow. So that's like our core goal.
Okay. So you're talking about the big challenges for truck owners in the country today, and one of those is also finance, and I understand you're working and you're doing something in that area also?
Yeah. So today, like BlackBuck is like, like we have 4 verticals as, as I was explaining. One is we provide loads to truckers, right? 1 in 10 loads of the country comes onto the BlackBuck platform, and truckers who use this platform are able to improve their average kilometers by anywhere between 20 percentage points to 40 percentage points, right? Second area is payments. Payments is all about helping a trucker do tolling, do fueling, like, using the BlackBuck payment systems to pay for these things, right? And 1 in 3 truck owners in the country uses the BlackBuck payment systems, right? Third is telematics, which is like, helping him manage driver intelligence. Now, with all of this data, which is like of their running, how much earnings they are able to do, like how much is their truck traveling in terms of kilometers, use all of this data to be able to get to the trucker affordable like loans and access to loans, right? So that is what we do in financing, like using the data which is not available for traditional financial, services ecosystem, using that data and helping get them an access to loan, which is not available for like 50-60% of the truckers, access to formal loans, and also helping them get these loans at an optimized rate so that they can, have a better earnings and have a better life.
I want to talk about the fact that you work with the largest businesses in the country today, whether it's a Reliance, whether it's an Amul, whether it's a Tata Steel. What makes you the player of choice for these large companies? What is it? What is your USP?
So anyone, as I was mentioning to you, anyone who wants a truck today is not able to get a truck when he wants it and does not get a truck at the price they want it, right? So be it for the largest companies like Reliance of the world, Unilever of the world, or be it for a very small time SME, right? Getting a truck in time at the right price is a challenge. We on our platform have probably the largest capacity in the country, right? We have about close to 1.1 million truck operators who use the app on a monthly basis regularly. So this capacity is available for anyone who wants to take a truck, right? So the secret sauce is more truck operators on the platform who are searching for loads. Better is the service experience for the shippers on the platform. And this is the reason why, like, who's and who's of the world, like, work with us, and the SMEs and the small time brokers and the transporters. Anyone who needs a truck, we're the partner of choice for them to take a truck from.
Okay, I was going to talk to you about the SME angle because we are India's largest platform that speaks with SMEs and MSMEs. And my question is for an SME or an MSME who's watching this interview to say, what's the benefit of going with an organized player? Yeah. I'm sure it might be more expensive, at least that might be the question in their mind. Yeah. What do you want to tell them?
Yeah. So first of all, it's not expensive. It's opposite. it's much cheaper, right? So when an SME is procuring a truck, typically he would be going through 1 to 2 intermediaries minimum, right? And what we have seen is that, like, roughly about 25,000 to 30,000 SMEs every month transact on our platform. What we've seen is that on an average, they're able to get a truck cheaper by 5 to 15 percentage points on the platform, right? So hence, contrary to the belief that it's costlier, no, it's cheaper, number one. Number two is that given the availability on the platform is so high, right? It's the choice, the go-to choice for a trucker to, get a load, right? For an SME, when he posts a load when he gives a load to an offline broker, typically his fulfillment rate would be like 20 to 30%. On our platform, the fulfillment rates are about 70 to 80% for somebody who posts a load and then finally gets a truck, right? That's the second thing. And the third thing is that all these trucks on the platform are verified. We know who these truckers are. We know what this truck is, right? And during the fulfillment journey of the order, he can track the truck. He can understand where the truck is, if there are any delays, right? So the entire service experience is like 10 times better than transacting offline. So for the SMEs, I think this is the place to have better fulfillment, better crates, much more, 10x experience of fulfillment is on the platform delivered.
You only do intercity, you don't do intracity, right?
Yeah, I mean, we are as a platform focused on providing everything, right? But largely the platform of choice is for the intercity roads.
I'm going to slip into a short break. On that note, back in just a moment. Welcome back. With us here on Leaders of Tomorrow. Tonight, in the hot seat is Gupshup. Beerud, we're doing a series of conversations with unicorns such as yourself leading up to the Leaders of Tomorrow Awards. And it's good to speak with someone who has as much of a domestic focus as well as what's happening on the global stage, especially with regards innovation. So our pleasure really having you on the show tonight. I want to kick off today's interview by asking you to really talk about what Gupshup does for an entrepreneur who's watching today's interview, to say what exactly is the business about. What would you want to say?
Sure. I think in technical terms, Gupshup is a conversational engagement platform. But let me try and explain it in simpler words, right? I think what we help businesses communicate with their customers, engage with their customers, and do it in a much better way, right? If you think about it, businesses traditionally, they've interacted with customers in many different ways. They have branch locations, they have websites, they have mobile apps. But now there is a new and much more powerful way emerging for businesses to engage their customers. And that's through messaging. So imagine if you could talk to any business as easily or simply as chatting with a friend or family member and get your queries resolved. So instead of calling, the call center and staying on hold, instead of going to the branch location and staying in a line, imagine if you could just send a WhatsApp message and the business can reply. You can get your balance, you can check your transaction status, you can resolve your problems, you can file your complaint. Everything happens instantly, quickly, easily, just through a messaging app. Could be WhatsApp, could be Instagram, could be SMS, and so on, right? So that's the vision, to make it simple and easy for businesses to engage with their consumers. And we provide the platform to do it through SMS, WhatsApp, and many other messaging channels.
Okay. What about this business perhaps do you wish that small businesses would understand? For a small business that is saying, do I really need, an automated service which is online all the time? Isn't it going to be more expensive for me? I'm doing just fine by being able to answer, say, the phone during office hours. What do you want to tell them?
Actually, the status quo, right? The existing way of doing it is far more expensive, and digitizing it through messaging is going to be a real game changer, especially for small businesses, right? Usually, big businesses, they have big budgets and they can get things done, but for small businesses, they're resource constrained. They don't have enough, ample monetary resources or even time, right? They are stretched really thin. So that's where this comes in, right? Let me give you a simple example. Imagine if it's a restaurant or a grocery store, let's say a corner kirana store or a pharmacy or something. They get a lot of orders coming in. It takes time to collect payments. It takes, they can only serve so many customers in a physical way. But through digital technology, through automation, through enabling these conversational experiences, they can now accept more orders. They can collect more payments. They can deliver more products and services to their customers, and most importantly, save their own time, their free up their staff to do sort of more interesting work. So I think it really is a game changer. In particular, it levels the playing field. It helps small businesses be as efficient, as productive, and appear like big businesses, even if they're not.
Beerud, so my next question to you really is to talk about, the fact that 80% of your business and your 80% of your revenues, I understand, is coming from the India market. 20% is from global and international markets. And as someone who has that bird's eye view as far as both the Indian ecosystem as well as what's happening globally, what do you want to tell entrepreneurs who are based here about perhaps changes that you would like to see to bring them also on level with what's happening globally?
I think especially in a world of technology, right? It's a global market. There are new trends and new patterns emerging from all over the world, certainly from Silicon Valley, but could also be Brazil, could also be China, and then of course India as well, right? So even for India-focused businesses, it is very important to keep an eye out on what's happening elsewhere. And these days, it's very easy, right? The blogs, the podcasts are all very easily accessible, no matter where you are. So I think it's really critical for small businesses, no matter where they're in the world, to be aware of global trends. I think in our case, we are pioneering new and innovative technology. And they're having visibility into emerging trends, emerging patterns, especially in Silicon Valley, is important for us. So that helps. In addition to that, about 80% of our revenues are from India because traditionally that's where we've been strong. But over the last year, we did a big funding round, and now we are expanding. We have a presence in about 40 to 50 countries. So I expect the international revenue base to increase a lot faster. Right now, India continues to grow. India is an exciting market. There's a lot of new things happening there, new technology adoption, and so on. But I think the international market for us is, it was zero a while ago, and now it's expanding very rapidly.
Okay. Speaking then of how your revenue is split, roughly about 2/3 of your business is from large businesses, and the remaining, of course, are small businesses, if I've understood that right. What are the differences in how each of these business segments or industry segments, if I can call it that, are really approaching having someone like yourself on board?
Yes, you're right. I think what happens is the large enterprises may be fewer in number, but the volume, right, by revenue, it's about 2/3. The smaller businesses, we may have many more small businesses, but in aggregate, their volume is lower. The interesting thing is that a year ago, many businesses that we considered as small businesses have now become large businesses. Yeah. As you know, in the last year, about 100 new unicorns have been funded in India, right? So these are digital native companies, they're hyper growth companies. So, these distinctions are also blurring. But what happens is the way we cater to these two markets is a little different. Typically, when you're focused on for the mid and the low end of the market for smaller businesses, your products have to be, self-serve, very simple and easy to use. We also work with a lot of partners who can then provide the service, right? But really, the key is to make your product easy and simple for them to use, because that's how we can cater to thousands, maybe, and eventually lakhs of small businesses, right? With large enterprises, generally they are fewer. You can have a little bit of a high touch model. You can have people providing support and customer success and more service, but that's harder to do, with small businesses. So we have sort of, in general, we try to make our products very easy and simple to use. You shouldn't need a lot of manual help to use Gupshup products.
Beerud, thanks so much for your time here on the show. Completely out of time on tonight's episode. If you have any feedback for us, do let us know. Our contact details on your